Renowned home improvement expert Bob Vila has been fixing and remodeling homes for more than 30 years, and he knows his way around a house like no one else. The month of April is National Pest Management Month, and Bob is joining us this morning to discuss ways we can defend our homes against those unwelcome spring and summer pests. Good morning to you, Bob.
Good morning, Melanie. How are you?
I'm good. Bob, what are the top 3 things we can do right now to keep our homes safe from those pests? They're already out.
Yeah, no, April is the month when you want to do not only spring cleaning, but a good assessment of the house to make sure that you're not providing a superhighway for some of these insect pests to get into your house. And so that means going around and looking at the perimeter of the house to make sure you don't have any cracks or holes in between the windows, or even something as small as a hole that's been drilled in the siding to let a cable come through needs to be caulked so that you have a really tight house.
Okay, because all they need is just a small entryway to get in there, right?
Right. And then around the house and on the property, you want to make sure you're not providing breeding opportunities for some of these insects. Right now, the mosquito population is one of the things that we should all be concerned about, not just because they bite, but also because they carry the Zika virus, or some of them do. And the Zika virus is a real threat to young families and to children, and we don't have a vaccine for it yet, so the best thing is prevention. Prevention means making sure there is no standing water anywhere on your property, and that means kids' toys and kiddie pools and bird baths, or something as inconsequential as an upside down bottle cap. If they have as little as a ½ an inch of water, that provides enough water for them to lay their eggs. So mosquito control means no standing water.
Okay, Bob, so is there one particular pest that is causing more damage than others to our homes?
Yeah, the termites. And, you know, termites do about $5 billion worth of damage to the housing stock in the United States. And it's not always the kind of insect that you are aware of. It's not like a cockroach walking across the living room floor. So there are tips. I mean, if you see swarming bugs outside and they're termites, then you call the professionals in. But inside the house, they might be eating away at the trim, at the baseboards, or the window surrounds, and you would never know it unless you rap on the actual piece of wood and it sounds hollow, or unless you see runnels or some other signs. Or the clearest indication that there might be termites at work is if you keep finding little piles of sawdust on the floor near the wall. They're not necessarily sawdust, it's probably frass, which is the insect's waste product, the feces of the termite. And when they're tunnels where they're eating all the wood cellulose, when their tunnels are getting full of this, they'll poke a hole in the paint and just toss it out. That's when you know that you have to call in a professional to take a look, and you might be doing a treatment.
Yeah, and I would imagine a professional would cost a lot of money, so we definitely don't want that.
Not necessarily. The termites will cost you a lot of money. The professionals will save you a lot of money if you get them in there early enough.
All right, good point. So I typically think about the basement, but can you tell us what the areas in the home where the pests are the most problematic and where you've encountered some hidden problems while on the job?
Yeah, no, if you live in a traditional house with a basement or crawl spaces, you want to make sure that you're not providing any kind of moisture there. All these insects look for moisture. They can't live without it. And the moisture, of course, is also damaging the wood itself. And it isn't just termites. It can be other pests like carpenter ants. So you want to make sure that the structure of the house is sound and that these subterranean areas are kept clean, dry, and with good ventilation.
All right, sometimes the problem is obvious. You'll see a bug, an insect, or something crawl across the floor. But how can we tell if we have an infestation of pests at home? And then what should we do about it?
Well, again, the key thing is to be on the lookout. Termites are, as I said a minute ago, the biggest problem, but there are other things like wasps, hornets, and even honeybees, which can create a problem for you. And if you do have, you know, something like bees in the attic, you will be aware of it, because you will have a humming sound, and sometimes you will actually have the bees coming in through an air conditioning register or some sort of louver. And if you have unexplained bees inside the house and they're not getting in through a torn screen, that's an indicator that they're working away, creating their wonderful world of honey up in your attic. And you want to get professionals to deal with these kinds of problems, because you don't want to be injured. It's one thing to have one bee sting, but to have 100 of them can be very problematic.
Yeah, that can also be deadly, so that's kind of a scary sound you don't want to hear in your house. Bob, of course, you know home improvement better than anyone. Can you tell us one thing we need to do in the springtime to spruce up our homes?
Well, in the springtime, you need to do some fun projects. And once you've finished with the drudgery of spring cleaning and made sure all your screens are in good working condition, do something fun like a new paint job on the front door, a nice bright color for Easter, something like that.
All right, I love it. Bob, thank you so much. Before we let you go, where can our viewers go for more information?
Oh, thank you. Yes, pestworld.org. That is a website where you will find lots of information, including if you put in your zip code, for example, you'll get lots of referrals to local professionals in your area that can help you.
All right, sounds good. Bob Vila, thank you so much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.